Good evening. Welcome to another video. I am back. It's been a long time. Um, and I'm back in a kind of a lower kind of lower scaled version of my previous videos. No bells and whistles, no green screen, no fancy graphics, nothing like that. Not for the moment anyway. Um, So I've been away. I've not uploaded for it's at least what two months, 2 to 3 months, and there's a few reasons for that. Um, Basically, so one of the reasons is it's extremely time consuming doing what I was doing, um, designing the graphics, the thumbnails. I was finding it actually quite it it was almost getting to the point where it was getting a little bit of an onerous, a little bit of a tedious thing to do, um, which is no good really. I work full time, and I developed a problem with my microphone as well. So that was another reason. For some reason, um, despite not changing any of the settings or anything, just all of a sudden just stopped work. There's just some weird like hissing sound with it. So um, it was kind of just the icing on the cake, really. I just thought, forget it. It's too time consuming. The other problem is where I was setting up was in the bedroom, which obviously, I share with my wife. It's the only place I could do it where I can get some peace and quiet because there's quite a lot of people that live in my house. But the problem is, every time I wanted to do a video, I had to get everything out, to get my table out, my laptop, my green screen, um, my microphone, all the stuff I was using, my light. I was having to use a light if I was doing it in the evening when the natural daylight's gone because the lighting in our bedroom's terrible. And then after getting everything out, doing my video, I've got to put everything away. So yeah, it was getting a bit tedious. But in addition to that, and arguably is the main reason, is I was just having such a bad time with my own team. Um, I actually, one of my previous videos that I put out was actually all on kind of the mental health side of FPL and how it impacts on your mood. And my advice in that video was, if you have a bad week, close the book, close the FPL book. Don't look at anything. Don't look at content. Don't look at Twitter or anything like that. Just come back when the next game week's here, refreshed, and um, you know we you go again. But the trouble is, as a content creator, you kind of can't really do that. Um, and I was just finding that I was having such a bad time with my team that I just didn't have the motivation to do these videos at all. So that, in combination with the other issues I've described, um, is really the reason why I've not been uploading. But I thought, you know what, let's do one. Um, it's not going to be anything like what I've been doing previously. It's basic, kind of back to basics really. I'm not even using. I'm basically just using the inbuilt stuff that's in my laptop. So the microphone, the inbuilt webcam as well. Uh, yeah, there's no green screen. Sort of whatever's behind me is behind me. I'm in the kitchen. No graphics. At least that's for now, anyway. Possibly that might change in the future if I get the time. I don't know. It's probably unlikely, to be honest. So just for now, I'm just going to do the videos like this. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of. So where I left you guys was around um, game week 9, and I'll show you basically what happened. So this was the week where I captained Havertz and Salah went absolutely nuts. This was kind of the almost like the final straw, really, in terms of me being bothered to keep producing video content, and it was ridiculous what happened. So one of my other videos, if you remember, was where I talk about bookmakers odds, and my policy this year has been to, in terms of when it comes to the captaincy, um, I don't tend to captain defenders, so it's normally midfielders or forwards, and my policy is I make my captain is going to be the player that's got the highest percentage chance of a return with the bookmakers. And that week it was Havertz. He was above Salah on these particular ratings. He had so Chelsea had Norwich at home, if you remember. I'm sure you do. I'm sure there's others, but he are in the same boat as me this week. Um, Lukaku and Werner were out injured. We knew that Havertz was going to play up front in the kind of the striker position. Great fixture, and Liverpool had Man United. Now those fixtures historically have always been quite tight games, so I felt like it was a good decision. It's what the bookmakers are saying, so I'm not going to even overthink it. And what transpired was just absolutely unbelievable, really. For Chelsea to score 7 goals, Havertz starts the game, does nothing in a 7 goal rout, and then Salah goes and gets 24 points. I mean, honestly, who could have foreseen that happening? Just absolutely ridiculous, ridiculous variance, really. Um, so that after that week, that was just kind of really hit me hard because it put my rank, as I say, 835k, I think that put me to. Um, really kind of struggling even to stay in the top million. Um, and I've got to be honest, I was having such a even before that week, I was getting really frustrated because I basically I wildcarded in I think it was around game week 4 or game week 5, and it was essentially it was to accommodate Ronaldo because I felt that I didn't want to continue without him. Actually, it was a bit later looking at this. So game week 6, I played it. And what happened after that was just quite frankly ridiculous. Ronaldo and Lukaku were in my team, and they both did absolutely nothing for weeks, blank after the pair of them. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't expect anyone, even the best players. I don't expect anyone to score every week. I get that, but for both of these guys to do nothing for 4 or 5 weeks, whilst at the same time you've got players like Dennis, St. Maximin, all these cheaper guys who are scoring. It was just, yeah, I was so frustrated with it, honestly. And Ronaldo, unfortunately, has returned to my team to torment me even more. Honestly, I brought Ronaldo in this for the game week just gone. Uh, and my reasoning was because I knew that I was going to be letting Salah go because he's going to the AFCON, got Chelsea as well. So it seemed like with Man United's fixtures, it seemed like the ideal time to bring Ronaldo in. And there he is again in my team, captain. This time, 1 point again. Honestly, that Newcastle match, I watched it and it was just absolutely painful. Oh, I just kind of thought, you know what, new manager, they've got good fixtures now. The results have picked up. They've been getting some wins. Um, I kind of thought, maybe they've turned a bit of a corner now with, it's all kind of seemed to be set up quite nicely with the new manager. Good fixtures coming up. And actually, if you look at Ronaldo's stats, they're still really good in terms of XG, shots inside the box, penalty area touches, all that sort of stuff I like. He's way up there, but again, it's just, oh yeah, just absolutely fuming, guys, to be honest with you. And funnily enough, I, I have that little confidence now in Ronaldo because of what he's done to me. I've not captained him this week, despite the fact that he is the bookie's favourite to return. So I'm going a little bit against my policy just because I just don't feel comfortable. If I go with him again, and again he lets me down, I mean, I just don't think I could bear that. So yeah, so that's just a little bit of a tale of woe for me, really. I was getting really frustrated, and I just, yeah, to be honest, guys, I couldn't be arsed doing the videos anymore. But if you have a look at my game week history, you'll see that things have improved significantly over the last sort of 10 game weeks. I mean, I actually had 9 green arrows out of 10, and you can see there. So before this game week started, I just squeaked into the top 100k, which is a great position to be in with half the season to go, loads of time. I've still got all my chips intact, and top 10k is definitely on, and that's always my aim. Um, it's actually updated just now, actually, because we've had a few games today. So I've taken another points hit. I don't have Bowen, and I'll go on to that in a minute. So I'm actually 140k, but yeah, it's only after the first few games. Uh, so yeah, it's going well, but frustration has surfaced again for me today with this player here. I'll just explain what's happened here. So basically, last week my planned transfers were King and Salah out for Ronaldo and Bowen. I had the exact money to do that, but being sensible, I didn't want to rush and do the transfers. I wanted to wait till as late as possible because we know what's been happening with the postponements. They've been so late that you just can't afford to be doing transfers early. So I left it, and left it. The morning of the game week, Salah goes down in value. Um, no longer, I can no longer do those moves because of morons doing early transfers to get Salah out. Absolutely fuming. And basically, look at so because of that, I had to get someone else, and that someone else was Gallagher. And look what happens. Bowen gets 4 last week. Gallagher gets 2 this week. Bowen gets 14 points. Gallagher gets a big fat 0 because he's got COVID. Fucking honestly, such fine margins with these things, and and it just demonstrates how one transfer can just have such a big effect on the kind of following sequence of events over the next few weeks with that team. It's just you you go select one path, whereas the other path, if you'd have gone down that, you could be 20, 30 points better off, after the next few weeks. So yeah, honestly, that's so frustrating. But yeah, it's been it. Whilst I've enjoyed kind of doing well over the last couple of months, getting back into the top 100k. To be quite honest with you guys, the season is rapidly turning into an asterisk season with what's been going on with these postponements. I mean, it's so depressing, isn't it? I mean, just when we thought we were over the COVID situation, got the vaccines out now, all the fans are back in the stadium, we're all right now, and then all of a sudden COVID is back, ruining everything all over again. Sick to death of it, as I'm sure you guys are as well. Um, because we've now got a situation where it feels for me like I've really got no idea what I'm doing one week to the next. I can't plan because there's not really any point. I can't remember the last time I actually did a tactical transfer that I wanted to do, because at the moment it seems like I'm running around my squad putting out fires, week after week. So it's turned into a bit of a shit show. Let's face it. It's I've there's talk of potential double weeks coming up, which is not surprising given the amount of postponements we've had. But how can you plan for them? Because COVID is likely to, just obliterate the double weeks, possibly. Um, for me, there doesn't seem to be any sign that this is getting better. I mean, the trouble is, not only do you have to dodge your player's team getting their game postponed, but you've also got to hope that that player isn't one of the players that's just got COVID, because we don't tend to know that information before the deadline. The identity of the players who've got COVID is often not well publicised, if at all. Um, and that's exactly what's happened with me with Gallagher this week. He played the last game, no mention of anything to do with COVID. All of a sudden, he's obviously tested positive. Not only is he not played for me today, but he won't play the next game either, because he's only just contracted it. So with the isolation period, he'll be out for the next game as well. Yeah, frustrating, completely frustrating times. I don't really know what the answer is. FPL have given us an extra free hit, which has caused little bit of controversy. Some don't think it's the right thing to do. Some people think it is the right thing to do. But at the end of the day, they've done it, and it as a bit of a kind of a safety net to guard against situations happening in the future where your team gets decimated by postponements. And let's face it, that's likely to continue. That could continue now for the next couple of months with games being postponed. Um, Now, what I do find quite surprising is that some people seem to be already penciling in certain game weeks where they're going to use these free hit chips. Just looking at Twitter and people on Twitter, there's keep seeing these strategies. Well, we use the free hit this week, and then use the other one in such and such a week. But it's ridiculous. They've given this extra free hit as a safety net to guard against this. We don't know. The COVID can hit any time with postponements. It could be 6 weeks time. You could get 5 or 6 postponements. Your team decimated. So my advice would be to hold those chips for as long as possible. If there are double weeks coming up, try and get the key players just with your normal transfers. Don't necessarily worry about cramming your whole team in full of double week players who perhaps you don't actually want long term. No point. Just do what you can do. Try and keep those free hits for as long as possible. I mean, I've seen cases like last week and this week where some of the content creators are using the free hits when they've actually got quite a lot of players with games still. If you can field 9, 10 players, um, maybe even if you can field 10 or 11 with a -4, do that. That's a much better approach than using your free hit chip, because those chips are so powerful. Keep them, honestly, keep them for as long as possible. There's going to be at the end of the season, we always have 2 or 3 double weeks, sort of, from the game week 30 point onwards, and that's in normal seasons. That's without all these postponements, all these postponed games that need to be rearranged, um, because of the teams that are involved in the FA Cup and Champions League, etc. So yeah, that's that. The chips are the powerful things to have. Use them sensibly. Don't, sometimes it's nice to think, oh, I've got an extra free hit. Oh, I could use it this week and I could get him. He's got that fixture. He's got that fixture. Or, I could get a really good. Appreciate that has. Some people used the free hit last week and they got quite decent scores. Fair play. But as a general rule, for me, it's not good use of a free hit chip if your normal team doesn't look too bad. Um, Even if you can only field 9 or 10 players, for me that's better than using the free hit chip. But that's just my opinion. So yeah, so this week, It's 7:30 now. The Liverpool match is going to be kicking off in half an hour. As you can see from my team, I don't have Salah. I will watch the Liverpool match because I'm a Liverpool fan. But yeah, it's going to be quite uncomfortable viewing the captaincy choice this week. I have found it to be one of the hardest decisions of the whole season because I had so many candidates. So I had Trent, Cancelo, Foden, Jota, and Ronaldo were all the candidates. And really, you can put a case forward for all of them. I was humming and hawing, I was changing it from one to the other. I still don't know if I've done the right thing. Um, I've, I've I've eliminated Foden and Cancelo because there was something. I saw something on Twitter about Cancelo wasn't seen in training or something. That doesn't necessarily mean anything, but because that's put a slight doubt in my mind. When it's close between a number of players, that's for me, that's just enough to eliminate him. Same with Foden. I don't know if he's going to start. He is in a lot of predicted lineups. I'm seeing a lot of the other content creator guys are predicting him to start, but you just don't know. You don't know what Pep's going to do. You can't predict him. He's done this kind of thing before with Foden, where he's played him for a number of games when he's fit. You think he's kind of not nailed, but you know, going to play most of the time when he's fit. Then he benches him again the next week, and you think, oh, this game, surely he's going to play, and no, he's benched again. So, whilst I also think he will probably play, there's too much doubt there for me. Um, he came off the bench in the last game and got 1 point, so that's that's him eliminated from the scenario. So I was basically left with Trent, Jota, and Ronaldo. And with what Ronaldo's done to me, I honestly don't think I could stomach him getting another blank with if he's my captain as well. Um, so I kind of narrowed my choices down to Trent and Jota, and honestly, there's not much between them. I was flicking between both of them, taking it off one, putting it back on the other. But I've settled on Trent Alexander-Arnold because I don't know. I just think there are so many ways he can get points. He's had 6 double-figure hauls so far this season. He's had maximum bonus for the last 4 games. Um, and I don't know, I think I'd be quite nervous having Jota as my captain just because of the amount of chances he misses, and he never really gets bonus either. Um, so that's my decision. It's gone with Trent. We'll find out in a couple of hours whether that's the right decision or not. But yeah, it's kind of toss of a coin stuff, really. It could go either way. I think part of my thinking with going with one of the Liverpool guys was it makes it a little bit a little bit less fearful of Salah because if there's a goal and Salah's involved in it, if Trent's involved in that goal as well, at least it's a little bit of consolation that I've got something out of that as well. And with Trent being my captain, I don't know whether that's a good reason or not. I don't know because doesn't really cover Salah, but it's just one little added extra ingredient there that went into my decision. So yeah, that's where I am. I'm in a lot better position than I was when I stopped doing the videos. um, I'm in a My rank is pretty good at the moment. I'm pleased with the way things are going. But as I said earlier, it's the season the season, thanks to freaking COVID, has just turned into a bit of a mess, hasn't it? We've even got comical situations where because people are leaving the transfers late, and rightly so, we've had situations recently where the website has crashed because too many people are doing the transfers at the same time. Everyone's got the same thoughts, the same concerns. They're leaving it till literally minutes before the deadline, and the website's crashing. It's an utter farce, isn't it, at the moment? But that's it. Next week, this is my team set up for next week. Again, as I sort of mentioned earlier, I've got literally no idea what I'm doing next week. It'd be nice to roll the transfer, um, but no doubt there'll be developments. We could have some double weeks drop in, um, postponements again, because there's still some teams that we've got doubts over. I've got Broja in here, um, playing Newcastle, but I think Newcastle have some so the Newcastle lost two players to injury in that Man United. They lost Callum Wilson and Maximan. If they've got COVID cases as well, that could be another team that's asking for games to be postponed. So yeah, the next game week as well is only in a couple of days' time. So it's yeah, it's tough. Got absolutely no. I've got some loose kind of ideas in mind and players I'm thinking about. I think I'd like to maybe get Son in at some point, but yeah, I really don't know at the moment. There's just so many unknowns, isn't there? I don't know what. So Regulon got subbed off at half time today. What is he injured? I don't know because that could be another fire I've got to put out. Alonso he needs to go because Chelsea have got, yeah. So let me just get up Chelsea's fixtures. Bearing in mind I've got him and James, one of them is well, at least one of them, and possibly both of them, is going to have to go because look at this. After the Brighton game, Liverpool, Man City, Spurs, two blanks. So Alonso is going to have to go. So that is likely to be something that I'll be doing. I'll be downgrading him to someone to free up some funds to, I don't know, perhaps bring Son in. Um, but yeah, this is the trouble at the moment. You see, you think of kind of transfers in mind to do, and then something happens. There's another fire I've got to put out somewhere, so that has to go on hold, and it's yeah, you're having to deal with other things. So that's my team at the moment. I'm going to leave the video now because I'm going to go and get something to eat and go and watch the Liverpool game whilst hiding behind a big sofa, probably. um, so yeah, I don't know when the next video will be. I thought I'd just do this just for the hell of it, see how it goes. Maybe I'll do another one in a few days, but I think going forward, I think this is going to be my setup, um, back to basics. So yeah, uh, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment if you like the video, and see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.